Hi guys, this is R.A. Sweeney with one more video I'm doing with Sydney Wallace while I've got her here. I'm calling this a bonus video because I said there's only going to be 3 and this is video 4. But we wanted to talk to you about the cover art for the shoot of Jesse. So this is the laser engraving of it. I posted online a picture of a smaller version of it, and then obviously this one's a little bit bigger. And really, there's so much going on with this one. It's not going to be one of the ornaments. It's the cover art, like I said, but I love this one. Again, I don't know if I'd say favorite one, but it's definitely up there. So I'll add it to my top 4. So it doesn't have to bump any of the others out. So the book is called The Shoot of Jesse. I talked about that a the other videos where it's really about how in the prophets it talks about David coming from the line of Jesse and shooting up like a tree and the tree growing and it gets sick and ends up rotting and dying throughout the kings just being corrupt and not being obedient. And in Isaiah 6, pretty sure it's 6. It talks about how God sends an angel to chop down the tree and burn it with fire for good measure, and that's kind of the picture of Babylon coming and destroying the last rotten parts of this tree, and so there's just this mangled stump. This obviously just being two-tone, I keep wanting to say 2D, two-tone, doesn't capture it, but in the color picture, which I'll throw up on the screen, you can see it's got a lot of like burnt texture to it, which I thought was really good. It's hard to capture all the details I wanted from what I understand. I've got too many demands apparently. But so it's got kind of that burnt tone to it, and it's just this old, weathered, rotten, burnt tree. But then the hope was that a shoot was going to come up from it, and so we've got the new growth coming off the side here with just the faintest little bits of green. I loved in the background you've got desolation because the idea is like the world is broken because there's not this leader of God's people that are bringing God's blessings to the world, and so it's this desolation behind. You've got the desolate stump and just a little bit of shoot of green, but then you've got the dawn rising in the background. And in the Bible, all the good things happen at dawn. So you think about the Bible starts with the sun popping out of the darkness. You've got in the Exodus story, there's darkness throughout all the land. The firstborns are killed. They get to the Sea of Reeds. Everybody's about to die, and at dawn, God comes and brings the rescue. And then even in the story of Jesus, he comes. They discover that he's risen from the grave at dawn. So dawn being a huge like rescue and deliverance theme. But then I also wanted to tie in, there's water coming off of here. Again, it's in the color, you can see it a little bit better. But the idea is that David's not just a tree. He's the tree of life from the garden. In the book of Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar is described as a tree of life. There's a few places where kings are described as trees of life. And so David is the tree of life. The water of life is pouring out of it, just like in Eden. And so here, what we kind of captured was the idea of through the blood coming from the shoot, it's making the fountainhead of the new river of life pouring out of Eden. So it's the start of a new Eden coming out of the new tree from the stump of Jesse. So those are some of the things I liked about it. Do you want to talk about I can even let you talk through any of the artistic stuff.
Well, and so, like Reed said, it's a little difficult to tell in this format, but in the colored version, when you were talking about it being difficult, and what I vocalized to you about being difficult incorporating all of those things was in art. I especially like to find the balance of juxtapositions, and so in style, that's where it really came out, and then you can see in the color version. So, like the charring texture on the stump and everything like that, it's not as maybe like gnarled and contrasty to the shoot in the water, but that difference and that nod to desolation comes out in the aridness behind and comes out in the darker tones and shadowing that's happening on the actual stump itself. And then, kind of like Ruth, we also have the light of dawn shining and kind of illuminating the back portion of it, and then more so touching the shoot itself and the water a little more glowy. So I was really proud of this. Was probably one of the pieces we went the most back and forth on, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really proud of the end results just because it is the cover. It is message and it sets the tone for the rest of the images. And I think we landed on a really good spot with this image to kind of subtly introduce those elements like the light, the glowing, the desolation textures, and all those things. So I was very proud of this piece.
Yeah,
I would put this as a 4 too. Yeah.
It turned out really cool. I love the way it looks engraved, even though it loses all the color and everything. And then obviously we added in a little bit of red for it, just to pop that little bit. But so I love the way it looks here. I love the way it looks in the grayscale. The color version obviously is the best because it gets all of that detail.
Yeah.
But man, it turned out really, really good. So
it did.
And so when we first started looking at this, I was not sure that this would even make the final cut. This was originally it was just going to be a grayscale in the introduction, and I was like, I'll make a color and we'll see if it looks good. We'll put it on the cover, and if they come up with something better in publishing, then we'll do that. But as soon as I saw it, I was like, no, this is what I want for the cover. So it turned out really, really well.
Yeah. Yep. I think it'll look great once it's printed too. I'm excited to see the finished product of everything put together and be able to bring it into their homes. Because, being that person too, I like to make things that look nice in spaces too. So imagine that, the book sitting on a bookshelf or something and how that'll catch your eye. That's one of the things I was going for with the cover too.
Yeah, it turned out great.
Yeah, very happy.
So that is the cover artwork for the shoot of Jessie, and that's the bonus video while I've got Sydney here with me. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and stay tuned. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.